Welcome to Grade 12 Advanced Mathematics, Unit 6, Applications of the Definite Integral. Lesson 1, Area between curves. And you're going to learn in this topic how to find the area between two curves using definite integrals. Also, how to compute the area of a region using definite integration with y as a variable. Welcome to Hasna Spot Math. Let's spark our math skills together. Let's dive into the concept. First of all, to find area between two curves, our main task is to find the limits. What will be your lower limit and the upper limit? Next, our task is to find the maximum function and the minimum function. Then you will subtract the maximum function, the minimum function, and when you integrate, you will be getting your area between two curves. Let's proceed with our first question. Find the area bounded by the graphs of y equal to 3 minus x and y equal to x square minus 9. First of all, to get the lower limit and the upper limit, let's equate the function. So, when you equate the function, you will be getting 3 minus x, which is equal to x square minus 9. Bring everything to one side, so x square, when you transpose minus x to the other side, it will become plus x. Already you have negative 9. When you transpose positive 3 to the other side, you will be getting negative 3, which is equal to 0. Now, let's simplify. So you get x square plus x, negative 12, which is equal to 0. Now, let's use the calculator to identify the x value. When you use modify 3 and enter your a value as 1, b value is also 1, c value as negative 2, you will get two values, one as negative 4 and the other value as positive 3. Please check out in the calculator, and once you get the answer, comment below. Now let's apply our integral technique. What is your negative 4 will be your lower limit and 3 will be your upper limit. Now the maximum function minus the minimum function. When you look at the graph, your pink line, that is 3 minus x, is your maximum function, which is on the top. So 3 minus x, please use the sufficient bracket when you enter in the calculator. And what about your minimum function, which is the blue color line, that is x square minus 9. Please use proper bracket, otherwise you may not get the right answer. So, one small trick I would like to share here. Area cannot be negative. So suppose accidentally, if you swap the functions, you might get negative answer. Please keep in your mind, area can't be negative. So you yourself can identify the answer which you have identified it's not correct. The reason is you swap the functions. So you can rectify your mistakes there itself. So let's enter the integration. And what's your lower limit? It is nothing but negative 4. And your upper limit is 3. And please use the proper bracket. 3 minus alpha x, close the bracket, minus, open the bracket, alpha x square minus 9, close the bracket. So your answer is 343 divided by 6. Let's try this question. If you look at, you can notice that the first half with respect to 1, your pink line, that is 2 minus x square, is the maximum function. But when you look at the second half, your blue line y equal to x square is the maximum function. So you need to be very careful. From 0 to 1, what happens? And 1 to 2, what will happen? So first of all, to identify that 1, how will you get it? It's so simple. Just equate both the function. X square is equal to 2 minus x square. When you enter in the calculator, you get your value x as -1 and +1. But you know the limit is given in terms like 0 to 2. That's why we cancel -1 and we approve only +1. That is how the intersection point is 1. Now let's see how to find the integral from 0 to 2. So first of all, let's find what will happen for 0 to 1. As I told, the maximum function is 2 minus x square. So 2 minus x square minus the lower function is x square. So minus x square dx. Plus integral 1 to 2. What is the maximum function? Blue color line, which is x square. Minus, be careful with the bracket. What is your minimum function? 2 minus x square. When you enter in the calculator, or even you can do the manual working by opening the bracket and applying the power rule, your answer will be 4. Now let's try this question. To get the intersecting point, first let us equate cos x with x square. Let's equate cos x and x square. So make sure your calculator is in the radian mode. It is degree here. So let's change to the radian mode. Once you change to the radian mode, let's equate cos x alpha calc x square, alpha x square. And you can see here 2 values, but in your calculator you will get only one value. If you get the positive value, you will rewrite the negative value. If you get the negative value, you will be writing the positive value also. So the same value but positive and negative. Now let's note over here, cos x is your maximum function because it touches 1 and your minimum function is x square. So let's now find the integration. Integral, your lower limit is negative 0.82413 and your upper limit is 0.82413 and as I told, your maximum function is cos x, so cos alpha x minus The lower function is x square. So x square, don't forget to close your bracket, and you get your final answer as 1.09475. Let's find the area bounded by the graphs of y equal to x square, y equal to 2 minus x, and y is equal to 0. How to solve this question? If you notice, first y equal to x square with respect to y equal to 0. Then we will be finding y equal to 2 minus x with y equal to 0. But what about this intersecting point? As I mentioned before, you will equate the two function x square and 2 minus x. When you bring everything on one side, you get x square plus x minus 2 equal to 0. You get x as negative 2 and x as positive 1. You consider only positive 1 because you can't cross 0. So you get only positive 1. You will ignore the negative 2. Now let's find the area. Integral 0 to 1. The maximum function is x square. The minimum function is 0. So x square minus 0, which gives you x square dx. And what happens from positive 1 to 2? 2 minus x minus 0, which is nothing but 2 minus x dx. If you prefer, you can follow the manual method also. Depends on scenario, and you get the final answer as 5 over 6. Be careful, if you are asked to integrate with respect to y, or the revolving happens around y, you will be integrating with respect to y by having fy minus gy dy. If you look at this example, it's exactly the same as the previous question. But since it's asked to integrate with respect to y, or it revolves around the y, we rewrite y equal to x square as x equal to root y, and y equal to 2 minus x as x is equal to 2 minus y. Now to find the intersection point, let's equate root y with 2 minus y. You'll be getting two values, 1 and 4. But 4 is crossing 2, that's why we'll accept only 1. Now let's integrate. Integral 0 to 1. And if you notice here, which is your maximum function, the right side function 2 minus y, and your minimum function is the left side function root y. So it is nothing but 2 minus y minus root y dy. When you are entering in the calculator, you have to be very careful to use the bracket, and you get the same answer, which is 5 over 6. Let's try out this question. When you equate the given function, which is y square and 2 minus y square, you get two values for y. One is negative 1 and the other one is positive 1. Here you are supposed to consider both the values because it's revolving around y. So integral, the lower limit is negative 1, upper limit is 1. Now the maximum function is your right side function, which is 2 minus y square, with the left side function, which is minus y square dy. And when you enter in the calculator, you get your value as 8 over 3. This question is slightly different from the previous ones. Here you are asked to estimate the percentage of energy lost in the collision, and they have given you the table. How to find the percentage of energy lost in the collision? 100 times integral 0 to m fcx minus fex dx divided by integral 0 to m fcx dx. If you look here, you have fcx and fex. So when you subtract these two columns, you get 0, 2, 4, 12 and 0. And also when you are integrating, we will be using Simpson's rule. What does the Simpson's rule says? It is nothing but when you are integrating a table, you will be getting delta x by 3. What is delta x? The change b minus a over n times the first function value, which is f naught x, no change, and also the last value, no change. Let us consider it as fnx. In between, what happens? You will multiply starting from 4, then 2, then again you will multiply with 4, then with 2, and you continue till you reach the last value. So let us try here separately. So let us first try only the integral 0 to m fcx minus fex dx. So when you handle the subtraction concept here, your delta x is nothing but 0.1 because the change is happening 0.1, or b minus a by n. b is 0.4, a is 0.0 divided by, there are 4 intervals. So divided by 4, which results in 0.1. So 0.1 divided by 3 times the first value no change, which is 0, and also the last value no change, which is also 0. In between, we start multiplying with 4. So 4 times 2, that is the second value. Now 2 times 4, which is your third value. One more value is there before the last term, which is 12. So multiply it with 4. And the last value is 0. So you will enter 0. And when you enter these values in the calculator, you get 32 over 15. Which is nothing but 2.133. Now let's continue with the denominator. Integral 0 to m fcx dx. Be careful when you are focusing on the rows. fcx dx is nothing but the second row. Same rule of Simpsons will be applied. And what is your delta x here? 0.1 over 3. And what's your first number? 0. So keep it as it is. Now your second value is 25. So 4 times 25. And your third value is 50. So let's multiply with 2. So 2 times 50. And your next value is 90. Let's multiply by 4. And the last value, no change. Keep it as it is, which is 160. and you are going to get your denominator as, you get 24. Now let's substitute in our formula 100 times. So I change the color of my pen to green. So 100 times. Your numerator, you already got it by subtraction, that is 2.13, divided by your denominator, which is 24. And what do you get? Please comment below. 8.9. It's a rough estimate of 10%. 10th place we are rounding off. Now to conclude, you can subtract this from 100 and you can say with over 90% of the situation, it is a lively tennis ball. That's all for today. So catch you with the next topic. Keep practicing, keep revising. Bye-bye.